Good morning, it's Donna here from Homesteading New Zealand with the Blind Knitter. I hope you're all well, and I hope that life is doing you well and treating you okay. Life can certainly be tough at times, but we've got to potter through it because there's a lot of people that just don't make it. Anyway, I'm not starting negative. I don't know where that came from. Anyway, hello. Hello to my subscribers. Hello to my new subscribers. Had quite a leap in subscribers, which has been wonderful. So welcome if it's your first time. And I live in New Zealand, the lower North Island of New Zealand, legally blind with a guide dog. And I love to homestead and knit and do all sorts of crafty things. So I share the lot on this. And today I have a big mission ahead of me. It's a Saturday. My sister-in-law is shifting, and because of my sight challenges, I can't sort of get in there and help. No, you can imagine me. I can't see anything particularly under here. So you can imagine me with boxes and people moving furniture, and I would just be a pain. So I said to her, look, you know, I'm happy to help because one of my mantras is do what you can, not what you can't. So it's no good sitting here and saying I can't help, and dwelling on that. So I thought, well, what can I do? And I thought, well, I can cook them some food. You know, everybody needs a bit of sustenance. So that's my goal today, is to do a whole lot of cooking for the people that are helping with the shift. It's two farmhouses together, close together, and one farmhouse is the farm owners and one is my sister-in-law, and they are swapping houses. So two lots of shifts. So I'm sure the food will be divided around. I was well in control. I had a great plan for tea, for dinner tonight. I thought, right, well, I'll get the food ready for everybody for the evening for dinner. And I've got work today, so I've got phone counselling in the weekends. So I've got an 11 o'clock, a 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock and a 4 o'clock. And so I thought, right, I will potter around in between all of those because I usually have sort of 20 minutes in between and get everything done so for ready for dinner, so it'll all be hot. Mr. Farmer says to me, what time will the food be ready? And I said, 5. And he went, but everybody will be gone by then. It's like, what do you mean? So he was under the impression, and I'm assuming the others, that it was lunch. So there's a little bit of pressure on to get the food done. So if I'll take you for a little walkie and show you what I've got prepped. I've got what I've got ready, and of course past me thanks me for all of the prep that I do and the frozen stuff that I do, because that's helpful. I was going to keep it quite simple, and then I thought I would make a whole lot of different stuff rather than one of the same. But they're all quick and easy things to make, so we'll see how we get on. So here we go. This is the menu for the day. So I'm going to turn you around, show you what I've got. So I've got prepped here. I have some rice and some pre-sliced frozen onions, and I'm going to make fried rice. I've got my cabbage is all cut up, my carrots are all cut up. So I've just got to cook the rice. I'm going to make cream of corn soup. That is mostly for my granddaughter, whose baby is due in 5 or 6 weeks. So, and I know she loves soup, and as you get pregnant, your tummy gets full and swollen, and so I'm going to make her some soup. I'm going to make some pizzas. So this is my bread maker stuff, and that is to make the pizza bases, which I'll put on. I'm going to make a quiche. So I've got all of the broccolis all cut up, all of the onions all cut up, so that's a matter of just throwing it all together. That's for the pizzas. We had venison hamburgers for tea last night, and so they were leftover buns, so I thought I could make those into buns as well. And that's the ham, the onion all cut up ready, the mushrooms there, and I've got dehydrated tomatoes somewhere in the pile. Oh, dehydrated tomatoes here. And this is for macaroni cheese. So I thought I'd make a big pot of macaroni cheese. So the colander's already waiting for pasta to be drained. My wok, my favourite wok, I've had this for years. It's a proper great big one that they use in Asian shops, so I just love it because it's big and does the job. I have a pot ready to cook the rice in, a pot ready to cook the pasta in, and a pot ready to make the soup in, the cream of corn soup, and a pan ready to dry the rice, because once you've cooked rice, I'll just turn you back around. Isn't it a beautiful day out there? I'll turn you back around. So that was the look around, and yeah, we'll get started. So my goal right now is, I do have a client in half an hour, get the rice cooked, get the pasta cooked, and get the rice out drying on a pan, and put the bread, the pizza base bread, in the bread maker. So those are 3 things that I'm going to get on with right now. So I will bring you down, so you can see what I'm doing down here. And I have my pot for my rice, and the rice here. So we don't eat a lot of rice because Mr. Farmer hates it. And this is just plain packet long grain rice, so it's nothing a swoosh, because that's all you need. The long grain rice is best for stir fries. You can use some things like alboria for, I want to make quite a bit, so half a pack, yep, half a pack, probably do me well. Now, this is a method that my mother-in-law taught me how to cook. Oh, my hair, gosh, excuse me, I'm just going to tie my hair up. So while I'm doing that, I'll talk. My mother-in-law taught me to cook rice, and I do it this way every time. It's the evaporation method, and it works excellently. Sorry about that, I needed to tie my hair up. My mother would have shot me. So what we need to do is now put the cold water in, and my mother-in-law always said you put your finger on the rice, and then you put the water up to your first knuckle. So we will do that. Cold water. I don't wash my rice, a lot of people do. If it looks very, very starchy, I will, but I don't tend to wash it. Finger on, could do with a smidge more water, because it's not quite at my knuckle. Finger in, and it's at my first knuckle. Then you put the lid on. Salt, 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 salt. Salt, good teaspoon of salt. Rice copes with quite a bit of salt, and that's a lot of rice. Bring this to a rolling boil. When it is, as soon as it's on a rolling boil, turn it right down as low as you can get. So I put it on my very small gas element so that it's just simmering, and leave it for 10 to 12 minutes until the water has disappeared. So that's what that's going to do. I'm going to put this on now, and while I'm talking, that can go on over there. So tick, number 1, rice is on boiling. Now the next one is pasta. Now I cook my pasta. I've got the pasta sitting here. I don't like macaroni pasta so much with macaroni cheese. I do like penne pasta. I find that it fills up with a nice sauce, and which I like better. So I'm going to do a whole packet of penne, and I've got some water already here. Now I don't put a lid on my pasta because I find that that makes it sort of bubble and froth, and I don't like that. System's already failed because I don't know where I've put my scissors. Oh, there they are. So put all the pasta in there, and again they like a good chunk of salt, and make sure that they're reasonably well covered, and then that is going on to boil as well. So put that on the oven to boil. Oh, we're doing well. Right, that's number 2, boiling. So, get rid of the rubbish. Let's make our bread to put in the bread maker. So I thought I'd add a little bit of garlic salt, garlic powder and some mixed herbs to make them a little bit Italian, because I've got pasta sauce and little dehydrated cherry tomatoes, and I was going to get some mozzarella but I forgot, so it is just ordinary cheese, although I do have a ring of brie in there, so I might use that. So it is my normal recipe that I have used for a billion years. Oops. Is a cup of water, tepid water, and make it reasonably warm, because it will cool down quite a bit when you add it, like when it comes into here. Come on, you can warm up. Oh, come on. I might have to take it out of the jug. We're on solar, and sometimes our water, this water's boiled but not recently, so it should be, I might just add a bit of cold water to that. It should be warm but not hot. I'll just add a bit cold. Yeah, so reasonably warm water, because when you put it in there it loses its heat while it's waiting. I'm going to have to be washing. Mr. Farmer's got me all worked up about the time I haven't got the yeast out. So I just grabbed the yeast, I keep it in the fridge. So I actually keep my yeast in the freezer, and then when this gets empty, I fill it up from the stuff in the freezer. So just check that that's not too hot, and it could be a smidge too hot. Just add a bit more cold water. Better. So to our 1 cup of water, you add your yeast, which is a tablespoon, and then you add your sugar over here, and that is a tablespoon as well. I'll use that same measure. And so the sugar feeds the yeast, and you give it a real stir around and wait to see if it does its thing. Bubbles, bubbles, toil and trouble. And so we're just going to wait to make sure that that does do its thing, because I haven't made bread for a couple of weeks, so it's been a while since I've actually used my yeast. I want to make sure it's still live. And oh, it's me being blind, I can't see. Let's just wait for it for a little while to see if it'll bubble up. So yeah, so while we're waiting for that, I'll pull that up because it does tend to be a bit low. This is my uniform for the weekend. Instead of an apron, I just wear the same old home clothes. What's been happening? I and my girlfriend, knitting friend, Vicky, who I've done a cruise with before, and I've decided to do a big cruise. So we've just paid the deposit on a cruise to the Mediterranean, or in the Mediterranean. So I've never done a big trip, so I'm so super excited. So the plan is to fly to London. We're going to do a straight trip without any breaks. Don't know how that'll go, but I believe the adrenaline gets you when you get to your destination, and so hopefully that will happen. And fly to London. We've got a day when we can just sort of recover, and then another friend of mine who was a Rotarian friend, Julie, she's going to be living in Spain at the time. She's going to meet us in London, and so we're going to have 4 nights, 3 days, 4 nights, but 3 days because one will be travel in London. So that'll be good. I'm a bit of a what do you call them? Royalist. So I'm really looking forward to seeing the palace, Buckingham Palace, etc. And we're staying in Kensington, and we're hoping to get to Notting Hill. So that's what we've planned so far there. Then after that, we haven't sort of sat down and worked out exactly what we want to do, although I would love to do a Thames River cruise, so that we can see the sights via boat. and that brings me to my blind point, but I will talk about being blind and travelling in another podcast or later on in this one. Then we are training it to Southampton, and then we're catching a cruise liner to Mediterranean, and we're doing Spain, Italy and France. So lots and lots of things there. Florence, Pisa, Mallorca, Cadiz, Seville, Toulon. Yeah, so very excited. So we're paid up, paid the deposit, and it's not till May next year, but it's something really exciting to look forward to. And I do intend to sort of do a bit of vlogging of it with being blind and travelling. So if you know anyone who's interested in how I manage it or how I don't manage it, whatever, yeah, you can follow that along or let people know. So if you are sight impaired or have a disability and want to do a cruise and or travel overseas, I'm hoping to sort of fill people in on the pros and cons and the things to watch out for and all of those sorts of things. Anyway, my yeast has done its thing. It has gone fluffy, I think. No, it's trouble when you can't see. Yep, I think so. So to that we add 3 cups of flour. So this is high grade flour, which I found the best for bread making. 2, 3 cups of flour. I'm going to leave the flour out because I need it for a roux sauce later on. And a tablespoon of milk powder, and that's because we use water. You can use milk or whey or anything like that instead. So a tablespoon of milk powder, and then some oil, a tablespoon of oil, and I'm just using bran oil, which is one we use and like, a tablespoon of that. You can use butter. I have used butter. In fact, I usually use butter. And a teaspoon of salt. That little teaspoon, that one. So we've got milk powder, salt, sugar, oil or butter, flour. I'm going to put a teaspoon of onion powder in there, or heaped teaspoon. And I'm going to put a heaped teaspoon of mixed herbs. So, going to Italy, so I'll have the Italian flavours. That's my bread mix. I'm going to put that on. So, I'll be back. I'm going to clean this up. Now, just waiting for the rice to boil, get the pasta on, get the bread on, and then I will do my 11 o'clock client. Then I will come back, do the next step. We'll see you then. Okie dokie. Oh, excuse me, I'm back. So I thought I have 10 minutes before my client. I thought I'd whip up one of the sauces. My rice is just about ready to turn off, and I'll show you that shortly. But I'm going to do 2 roux sauces today. One is my quick and easy one that I do in the microwave, which I do all the time. And the other one is for the soup, which I will do in the pot, just because you make the soup in the pot. So might as well do it the old-fashioned way. So I have 4 tablespoons of butter, and I've melted that. In that I'm going to add a teaspoon of chicken powder, chicken stock. Oops. You don't need salt with that, and that makes the cheese a lovely cheesy flavour. Now I just buy these great big containers full, so that's what I do. Half a teaspoon of mustard powder. This is my own ground mustard. It's not, so half a teaspoon of mustard powder. As I say, I've ground these from mustard seeds. It's not what the box says, although original. I won't add any salt, and then you add your flour, and I just use the same high grade flour, 4 tablespoons, or about equal amounts as what there is butter. Then you whisk that up, and You can usually tell whether it needs a bit more flour, and that one does, because it's a bit moist. You want it sort of the texture of what, porridge, I suppose. Yeah, porridge, not thick porridge. So whisk it up so that it whisks like that. Now, put that in the microwave for 30 seconds just to cook off the flour. So 30 seconds in the microwave. I'm going to turn my rice off because it's definitely well cooked. My pasta's starting to cook, and I've got milk for the butter for the right. So just to give that a little cook like that, then you add as much milk as there is everything else. So not much, just a quarter of a cup, and then you beat it till it blends into a nice texture, a mixture. So there's no flour stuck on the. This is a terrible jug, because although I've had this jug 100 years and it's what I always make my macaroni cheese in, but it does catch all the flour around the edges. So give that a really good mix until it's well mixed, and then you just add the rest of the milk to it like that. And I will add more milk to that, but I don't know how much I need yet, so I'm just going to make the white sauce, and then I can, in fact that will need more milk, so I'll just grab that now out of the fridge. Milk, pour a bit more milk in there. If you put your little piece of that in your lid, stops leakage, helps it prevent it leaking. Right, so all we do now is cook it for 2 minutes, and then whisk it, and then a minute at a time until it's nice and thick. So a minute, whisk it, minute, whisk it, minute, whisk it. And I might even do 3 minutes because there's an awful lot there. I'm going to take you over and show you the rice. So where shall I put you? Here? You know, Steven Spielberg, each be jealous of Donna. So my rice is here. I'll get a fork. I did add a little bit more water because it started looking like the water had all evaporated and there was no water in it, and the white rice still was a bit crisp. So I have added more water. That is cooked. The rice is cooked. You can fluff it up, and there is your beautiful, fluffy, no foul rice. I just love, so easy to do. Now, pasta is starting to boil, so I better turn that right down because we don't want that boiling over. And that's one of the reasons I don't put a lid on it, because if I put a lid on, it tends to boil over even more. So I've got that down to a very slow simmer. I want that undercooked because it'll be cooked again when it's heated through. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to spread this rice out on a big roasting pan, just spread it all out to dry, because when you make fried rice you want that sort of dried. In here I've got melted butter ready to make the roux sauce for the soup, but I'm going to do that after this client, which I'm going to go and do now. See you soon. Okay, where were we? Client number 1 done. Rice cooked. The rice I have spread out on a big roasting pan like that, and I've just used a fork and squished it out a bit so that it doesn't get lumpy. Nothing worse than lumpy rice. And so that we will keep and make some fried rice soon with that. I have made the cheese sauce in the microwave, and so that's had about 10 minutes, 2 minutes at a time. So every 2 minutes I've brought it out and whipped it, and it's a lovely, it's actually the white sauce. I haven't put the cheese in it yet, and we're about to do that because that's my next thing. The pasta is cooked. So I have my pasta here all drained in my colander and cooked, penne pasta, ready to put in there. And so let's make some macaroni cheese. I'll bring you down and we'll do this macaroni cheese, and then that's one in the oops, I can say is done. So I've got a heck of a lot here, so I'm hoping I'm just going to put some of the half or a bit of the pasta in there. I'm going to have to do it in bits, I think, because I don't, oh no, it might all fit in there. It's kind of hard to say how much, let's get rid of those, how much we're going to need. So I have my white sauce here that I've made, and I'm going to add, hopefully it'll fit, as much, and I use tasty cheese because it's stronger and you use less because of it. So that's not a whole packet of tasty cheese, but oh, try it with that, but a jolly good chunk of it. We might add some more. I'll see how we go, because I do like it cheesy. There's nothing worse than macaroni cheese that's not cheesy, and I can see even by looking at that that it's going to need some more. So we'll put a little bit more in. I want to leave some to put on the top, and this I would say is probably going to be about right now. Give that a stir. That's such a easy macaroni cheese, or cheese sauce really, or a white sauce. I mean, with a white sauce you can do all sorts with it. You can add onions and have an onion sauce, or you can obviously cheese sauce, mushroom sauce. You can put whatever you want in it to make it your own. As I say, we're going to be making a soup. You know, often roux are a soup. White sauce roux is a soup base for creamy soups like chowders, etc. Right, so I'm going to get a teaspoon or another spoon, give that a little taste. It's probably piping hot. Needs pepper. Pepper. Lots and lots of ground pepper. Might be getting a bit low, but there we go. Lots of ground pepper. Okay, so let's start adding the two together. Put the cheese sauce in with the pasta. The penne pasta will soak up more of the cheese sauce as it goes, because it's got the tube through it, so that will fill with some cheese sauce as well. And I think we might be going to use all of this pasta, which is good. Put that in. Right, no leftovers, and it's all going to fit in here, so we'll squish it in. Don't forget that the pasta is al dente, so it's a little bit firm to the bite, which is really helpful, so that it will, as it cooks, it won't go soggy. That, anyone would think I planned that amount. That fits in there absolutely perfectly. Oh, well done, Donna. So I hadn't planned that, I hadn't measured it, I just hoped like heck. And it looks like it's worked well. So that's macaroni cheese, really simple, basic stodge, but it's a good stodge to fill a lot of people who are working hard. So what I will do now is sprinkle the leftover cheese all over the top of it so that it will crispen up and brown that up as it heats. I'm going to heat it through. Cook it. Your oven is on, preheating. So there we go. I must admit macaroni cheese is one of my secret favourites. So I'm going to put that in the oven. You could put some breadcrumbs on top of there if you really want, and make it nice and breadcrumby. You can. It's really nice when you do bacon and onion in it, but I, as you know, I had a bit of a time frame thing, so I decided not to do that. I'm just making a simple one, but it's lovely with bacon and onion in it. You can also add a tin of tuna and make it a cheesy tuna bake. That is a really nice as well. So it's a very good base food. Feeding kids, no, it's not an apron, it is my top, but it's going to be off. I'm going to put this in the oven to heat, and then I'll bring you back and we will work on the soup. Oakley dokley, one meal down. We've got Mccheese in the oven as we speak. Now we're going to concentrate on the soup, the corn chowder. So I have about 1/4 pound of butter in there, so quite a bit. Yeah, I'd say, well, I can't remember how much that is in grams. Oh, which reminds me, while it's heating up, I'm just warming that up, I brought myself a gift. Oh, this top is really annoying. I brought myself a gift, and I'll show it to you, not today, too pressured today, but I brought myself some talking scales. Oh, by golly, they were expensive, but because I enjoy cooking so much, it's an investment, and I'm obviously not going to get my sight back. It's an investment for me, so they were very expensive, but they're cool. So you put your weight on it, whatever you want to weigh, and it'll say 7 grams, 14 mils, or it does ounces, grams, mils. That's great. I'll show you those next time. I don't need to measure anything with these. These are all sort of meals that I've made that many times. I just make them from habit. Yeah, but that was cool. So my butter's just heating. I'm going to make a roux sauce now, which is exactly the same as what I did in the microwave, but I'm going to do it in the pot. I hate doing it in the pot. There's always a grubby pot to clean. I am a bit of a lazy, well, no, I'm not lazy. I'm efficient, and I try and do things efficiently. I know sometimes the proper way is the best way, but sometimes the easy way is the better way. So I'm heating my butter up, so that is getting warm. In my butter, I'm going to add the equal amount of flour that there is butter. So that's butter is sizzling around now, which is really nice. So about equal amounts of flour to butter. Yep. And you cook that off a couple of minutes. Now I like to add again some chicken stock in there. You don't need to add salt when you add that because it's very salty, and you can't have any sort of mustardy cheesy sauce without mustard powder. It just gives it that extra zhuzh. So I always add those. Put the lids back on so if I knock things over, they're not going to spill. So give it a stir. A whisk is your best idea with these because, right, let's cook through. Just need to give it a minute bubbling. Add some milk, not all of it, just a good glug, about as much as what there is butter and flour in there, and give it a really good stir while it's cooking. Swap hands for now. Arm's getting sore. Till it starts to really mix together. Okay, once it starts mixing together, which that is, you can start adding the rest of the milk into it. Now, I also once that starts to thicken, I also have a tin of corn kernels that I'm going to add, and a tin of cream corn. So what that's going to do is the cream one's going to make it nice and creamy, and the corn, so for obvious reasons, the two textures are going to be really nice. So that's starting to thicken. I can feel that thickening through. And that's my roux sauce. Starting to thicken. Can't beat pepper, so I'll get some pepper in there. This soup particularly really does favour a lot of pepper. For some reason they just go hand in hand. I always tend to find, and a friend of mine taught me this soup, Maureen. She lives down south, way down south, and she did work as a chef in a cafe, or a cook in a cafe, and is an exceptional cook. She taught me this soup, and yeah, it's been useful ever since. Mr. Farmer, yet again, Mr. Farmer won't eat corn or creamy stuff, so I don't make it that often because it won't get eaten in my house, but it will get eaten by me, and certainly our granddaughter will eat it, I'm sure, and that's the goal, is to have some of this food that I can pass over to her so that she is eating okay, and sort of sustenance as well. I know she's a good veggie eater, but we are going to start cooking with some veggies soon, guys. I'm sure you're thinking, where are all the vegetables? It's all starch and white sauce, which it is, but we will. It's taking a bit of a while. Still on, yep. We will cook some veggies soon in the fried rice. I know it's all very starchy, but there'll be quite a few men there, and it's just nice to be able to feed them up. So that is starting to thicken. And when it does, I'll give it a taste to make sure that I've got a clean spoon here. Make sure it's got enough of everything. Chickeny, because I mean the chicken is like making with a chicken stock. Creamy so far, and soon to be corny. Corny, yes. Seems to be taking a long time, but that is a big pot, and there is a lot in there. Doesn't look like a lot, but that's a big pot. My hand, yeah. So there's quite a bit in there. So what can we do while we're waiting? Nothing really. We do have to just keep stirring it. That's just life with the cheese sauce. You can see why I like the microwave, because I can't stand when this catches on the bottom. I don't know how much milk to add, you know, so I'm going to just leave it at this amount first, and then I can add that later. I do, my recipe's at work, so I can't make it today, but I brought a packet of frozen peas. I've got this recipe, and it's pea soup. Sort of got curry powder in it, and you blitz them up. Oh, it's so yummy. And so I was going to make that one up as well, but I left my recipe. I've loaned my recipe book to my daughter, and it's at work, so I couldn't use it. Yeah, so I finished with that client. I've got another client at 1 o'clock, and it is 10 to 12, so I've got heaps of time now. I feel like I've broken the back. All the preparation's done. My bread is rising in the bread maker, so that's ticking along really nicely. You know, you always sort of check whether it's rising, and it is, and I can smell the most beautiful garlic and herb smells coming out of the scullery, so that is nice. Right, can you see that? It's taking a bit longer than normal, but as I say, it's probably because there's more. I'll leave it for a minute, it'll heat through. What else is news? My chooks are laying 11 eggs a day, which is very exciting. Mr. Farmer and I had a bit of a giggle the other day, because one of our main first conversations, the minute I get home from work and he gets home, is how many eggs? And it seems to be our daily conversation, how many eggs? And we've had chooks, 12 years, I suppose, our own chooks. And so for 12 years, every day we've said, how many eggs? I think you get a dopamine hit, you know. Oh, there goes my alarm. Not sure why my alarm's going. Better check shortly. yeah, what else going to say? My cruise. I think I've done cruises before. I've actually done 3 cruises, but they're all quite local, Pacific Islands and New Zealand, and I cope really well with cruises. I mean, the thing is, and it's funny, I'm a member of what's called a disability advisory group, which is a group of people that work with the local council, our mayor and the district councillors, to educate and give our knowledge and resources to any plans that the council has, and so that they make things being very inclusive of people with disabilities. And with my rubber arm, I am now the chairperson, but I did have we had a meeting this week, and one of the things I said is that I actually feel safer in an airport or on a cruise ship than I do in my own main street, because of the challenges with footpaths and curbs and poorly designed, that haven't considered challenges. So yeah, here we go. This is happening now. Right, this has got nice and thick. Now I can add my corn, my tin of corn here, and my tin of cream corn. And I think my friend used to add the corn before she added the milk, but it won't make any difference. It really won't. In fact, I think making a white sauce, trying to get it thickened with cream in it, with corn in it, would be a challenge. Right, so it needs to cook through. It's going to start getting a bit too thick now, I can see that, so it needs more milk. Let's simmer that through until it's heated through and the corn has combined with the sauce and it all works very well. I'll do another taste test soon. And then that is meal number 2. Smells good. I'll turn you off. All I'm going to do is just finish letting that cook through, and then I will bring you back when it comes to my next meal. I just kind of thought the soup needed a little something extra, so what I've done is I've cut up very finely a whole lot of ham. So I'm just going to add some ham to it, because it just needs that little something. Yeah. There we go. There is our corn chowder, corn and ham chowder now made. Tastes beautiful, and that will be enjoyed, no doubt. Oops, everywhere. And we'll turn that off and just let that fuse through. It's cooked. So yeah, I just tasted it and I thought, it's yummy, but it just needed something with texture and just a little extra. So I threw some ham in it. See how it goes. Okay, I've also added to my soup some of my dehydrated parsley, just to give it a bit of colour. There's a few little wee bits of stalk in there. That won't be much fun, but that's alright. We can pick that out. So there we go. There's my soup. I'm going to pour that in here. Hopefully it'll all fit. Oh yes, you beauty. Put that over with, I've just taken my macaroni cheese out. It looks divine, and I will show you it all together, so you will get to see that. But there is my cream of corn soup, or cream of corn chowder. Next, stir fry. Okay, all reset. Dishes are cleaned out, fresh spoons. We're doing well, guys. We're doing well. It is 12:20. I have a client at 1, so I have time to make the stir fry. A lot of this is all down to sort of that pre-preparation and those frozen stuff. It just makes such a difference. So I'm going to bring it down and we're going to make our stir fry. So hopefully you can see there. Yeah. So my wok needs to go on, and in order to use my wok I have to have this special element thingy bobby to go on my stove, and it holds the wok in place. So put the wok on, turn it on high because it needs it. This is such an old wok, but by golly it's a goodie. So first thing we need is some oil. Put it right around the top of the edges so that it's not just in the middle, it's coating around the edges as well. Quite a reasonable amount of oil. You may even have to add some later. I have to confess it's been a while since I've made fried rice. Oh, how long would it be? A few months anyway. So let that heat. While it's heating, we're going to start adding a few things. I like to add my carrots first because I don't like them oh, you can't see me. Don't like them too crisp. So I'm going to add my carrots into here. Don't forget everything else is pretty much cooked. So in those, big chunk of carrot there, we need to cut that up. It's taking, I'm wondering whether we're starting to run low on gas because the gas is not doing its thing so well today, or is it because I'm pressured? I don't know. It's starting to sizzle. Anyway, I've got my fresh clean spoons here. I'll grab one of those and I'm going to put a good teaspoon of ground ginger. I just buy these a little bit more because, oh, that's the garlic. I just buy these bottles of ground ginger and garlic. I just find them the easiest. You can get one that's actually a mix of what's that one? Well, that's garlic as well. Oh well, we'll just have to have garlic. We'll add a little bit more. I do have ginger and I will find it. Everybody loves a bit of garlic and it's so good for you. So add some garlic to that, to the carrots, which are taking an awful long time to. It's starting to heat up, but by golly, I do question, yeah, maybe we are starting to run a bit low on gas because that is taking a long time. Normally it's going whoosh. But that's all right, we'll work with that. It just means, oh, it's starting to sizz now. That might be because I'm rushing. So can you watch my carrots, and I'll go and get some garlic, what did I need? Ginger. Can you watch my carrots, and I'll get some garlic out of the fridge, which is just here, so I'll be back. There's that ginger. Now I've got the ginger after I've added extra. So there's my ginger. Right, I hope you kept an eye on those carrots for me. So once they start to heat and sizzle, looks like a lot of oil, but believe me, the rice and everything will absorb all of that. And that's probably why it's taking a little bit long to cook. So let's just start adding everything, because that's basically all you do with fried rice. So as you saw earlier this morning, I cooked my rice and I've had it out drying, cooling and drying. That's the best way for stirred rice, is to have pre-cooked rice. And if there's any left, rice freezes very well in the freezer and heats very well. The only thing is, and this is an interesting statistic which I've just recently over the last couple of years learned, the one thing that you are most likely to get sick from, like bacteria from, is rice. So do be careful with your rice. Make sure it's heated through. You know, when you're cooking it, make sure it's really hot. Don't leave it out unnecessarily. you know, just be really, really careful. It is one of the things in the world that is the most likely for you to get unwell on. And I'm not even sure where I saw that. It was a doctor on a TV program. Maybe that sad story of that doctor that died in, I think it was in the Mediterranean or somewhere. He was doing a walk, a coastal walk, and he fell and hit his head and died. And he was a doctor that was on TV a lot. He used to do Trust Me, I'm a Doctor. And I used to really like him. And I think it was him that said. Right, so that's sizzling along quite nicely. So what we're going to do now is add some corn, frozen corn. And you just add whatever vegetables you like. There's a few that I prefer. I like corn in mine. And I like peas in mine. Not too many. You just need a quarter of a cup of each. Probably a little bit more carrot in there, but that's one of those sort of key vegetables, isn't it? So I also have, I'll add the cabbage last, I think. Onion, pre-cut, pre-frozen onion. That's thanks to myself, my past self. I love having pre-cut onion. I didn't put that in first because carrots, in my opinion, take longer, and so I'm just leaving these on top so that the carrots do most of the cooking. So put these back in the freezer because I personally think a lot of people add the onion and the garlic, and garlic is very easy to burn, so it's actually better not to add it first, and carrots can take a while, so I like to add them and then add the rest of the stuff. Normally a frozen onion is quite soft. It comes out really soft. If you can see that, it's almost translucent. It does lose a little bit of its crispiness when you freeze onion, but it's absolutely fine for cooking, especially for things like this when you don't want great big chunky bits of, I'll just cut them up a bit. You don't want great big chunky bits. Right, so once that starts heating, so the goal really is to just heat it through every time you add something. So I've added all of my veggies. I have some cabbage left, which I will do last. Probably because I always do the cabbage last because you put cabbage and soy in together. I want to cut the cabbage up a little bit more because I've cut it up to cook as vegetable to eat, not as, the oven is on. It's hot. And I finished with that. So that's starting to simmer along. Once that starts to simmer along, we can start adding the rice. Very quick once it gets to this stage. Very quick indeed. And so I'm going to bring the rice over. And I don't know if you've watched podcasts of mine in the past. Rice is such a messy thing for me. Thankfully I've got a fur hoover, a dog hoover, so she will clean up, of course, but I am very disappointed about how slow that's going. There is a bigger element over here we could try, but I suspect it's the gas coming through, not the size of the element, because this is the one I usually use. So it normally gets hotter quicker, but that's okay. We can do with that. So I've added all my vegetables, all my hard vegetables, peas, corn, carrots, onion, added my flavourings, my spices, and I only add garlic and ginger. A friend of mine who is actually the lady that's shifting, she puts shrimps in hers, so that is divine. You could put any meat in there if you want as well, like bits of chicken would be lovely. Her shrimp one is beautiful, but I'm keeping this meat free today just for simplicity. I'm going to start adding the rice now, and it is such a messy thing to do. My hands are clean, I've washed them. Oh, see, I've already got rice on the microwave. Oh. Okay, leaving microwave doors open and cupboard doors open. And I have no idea why. This is found as the easiest way to do it, is have the bowl dish really close to the wok and just put it in great big handfuls, because if you start tipping the wok over, that's when you're going to start getting it absolutely everywhere. Get the bulk of it in like this. Yum. I like to take this for my lunches. It's nice and quick to heat up. I was considering making it an egg foo young. We might even do that yet, I don't know. And that is by adding sort of you make up, if you've watched a past podcast on my quick and easy scrambled eggs, now move from the outside in is the way to go. Move from the outside in so that you don't splatter rice absolutely everywhere. So just stir until combined. It is very warm today, guys. I mean, I know I'm in the kitchen, which is a lovely spring day. I hope they're getting on all right with the shifting, and they've certainly got the good weather for it. They don't have to worry about rain and things getting wet. One of the difficulties with shifting, when you're shifting two people into the same house, like from one house to another, is one has to shift out before the other one can shift in. So sister-in-law had to stay at a friend's house last night because she had nothing in her house, so she had to shift out before her friends could shift in, which is always a bit of a challenge. Now, whoops, see, rice absolutely everywhere. No, grated carrot and rice are my two things that aren't great. I am going to add, I have here some my flavoured salt, and there's not much left in there, so I'm going to add that, and that's got paprika and oregano and onion powder, garlic powder in it. Right, now you just keep stirring it like this. It's actually starting to catch on the bottom, and when that happens you need some more oil. I told you it takes quite a bit of oil, but having said that, this is an awful amount, this is a lot of fried rice. This isn't just a little ordinary meal lot worth, this is a catering size amount of fried rice. Right, now that we've got those all through it, easy peasy. Now we add some cabbage, which is the creme de la creme. Again, it's all pre-cut. I don't want to put the handy towel in there, which I put in with my vegetables. That can now go in with the chooks to go to the, so that can sit on the top, and lots and lots of soy sauce. And it is just a matter, where have I put my, there it is. It is just a matter of working from the outside in and doing this. Stirring in the cabbage until it softens. You want the cabbage nice and crisp. And the soy sauce is mixed well through. You'll know when it is, because each of the rice, there'll be chunks of white rice until you mix it up in there. Then you taste it to see whether you can usually tell whether it needs more soy sauce by the colour, you know, if it's quite pale. But I will give it a taste test shortly. I just want that flavours to sort of infuse in it. Oh, yep, knew that would happen. That sounds like Mr. Farmer coming home. Probably find out where all the food is, and I haven't even started the pizzas. But they can take this up there for a start, can't they? Right, let's have a taste. And have mine another different spoon. Oh, yum. What does that need? A little bit more soy. Okay, and that's about it. It's very tasty. There we go. I'm really happy with that. So I'll go and find, I don't have a lid for this wok, but I do have a smaller wok that I don't like using because it's kind of just one of those home cook ones, but it does have a lid that it's a bit small, but it does fit in here. So what I might do is, you don't want it to steam, of course, because then the rice will go gluggy, but I'm pretty happy with that. I think short of it just needing reheating, and that's why I'm not cooking it right through. That, my friends, is cooked. Let's put what I've done all together so you can have a good look, and I'll pause you, get it all together, and you can have a look. I don't even know where I got to with that, so I'm just quickly whipping up these hamburger buns with, I've got tomato, baked bean, hang on, I'm gagging for a cup of tea, just the jug's just boiled, spaghetti, ham, onion that's has been pre-frozen, and cheese, and I'm going to mix that all together with a spoon. With a spoon. Oh, that's my alarm going to tell me I've got a client in 10 minutes. So we better get cracking with this, or I might have to sit and leave it. Let's see. Mix it all together really well so it's all mixed nice. We'll need another tin of spaghetti. Yes, I think I need another tin of spaghetti in there because there's kind of, it's a balancing act where you can have too much of everything. The other thing that's quite nice in here is cream corn, or that's a really nice mixture with the two. Again, I'm saying this is not posh food, this is home food, so that's better. Right, so it's got cheese, ham, onion, and what we're going to do is fill the top of each one of these with quite a reasonable amount. You don't want to be mean. Squish it down. Oh, there's a lot of ham in that one. Just share the love, eh? Well, it's been a bit of a marathon today. But that's all good. Everybody there is lifting heavy stuff and packing and unpacking, and so the only thing I'm missing is I could not find my orthotic jandals. Oh dear, gosh, I'm getting old. I like to wear them when I'm cooking because that's, you know, this can be quite hard on my back, etc. So, and I couldn't find them. Well, nearly put two lots on there. Right, just about. You can fancy these up, of course, if you want, but that's not what these ones are about. Right, there we go. So what I do now is just put a little bit of extra grated cheese on the top, wherever I've put the grated cheese. I'm starting to go blind because I'm starting to get tired. A little bit extra cheese on the top just for a little bit of Avril Lagasse, a bit of a bam. I used to like him, great chef he was on TV, and he used to go a little bit more bam on the meal. So it's always stuck with us. So a little bit of extra cheese on the top. And pepper, they really are good with pepper. Obviously I usually put ground pepper, this is the bam, but I usually put ground pepper on, but my pepper grinder is empty, but that won't matter. That's black pepper and mixed herbs. And another sprinkle of, not a lot, just a little, and it gives it that sort of a pizza-y taste. A little bit of spring herbs. And what I usually do, and I don't have enough, is I get tomato sauce and I do a spiral of tomato sauce on each one, but I don't actually have enough tomato sauce. So I'm going to put those in the oven for about 10 to 15 minutes just to lay crisping on the bottom and the cheese melts on the top, and that's them done too. So, and then I'm going to have a cup of tea and I'm going to come back to you after that. Right, where was I? I've just finished with a couple of clients. I've got one more to go in 20 minutes, but in between those two clients, I didn't tape it unfortunately, but I have put together a pizza. I was going to do a whole lot of individual ones, but here is the pizza. So this is the bread dough that I made in my bread machine, and I've just rolled it all out flat, and I've covered it with tomato puree, and then that spaghetti and ham and onion mix that I had left. And so where am I up to? My hands are clean, I've just washed them, so I'll just finish putting the rest of this on so that I don't waste any of it. Can't waste it, can we? And then I think, and then I will starting to get jaded, spread it with some cheese. Oh, I'll put the oven on while we're waiting. I had for lunch one of the, I'll go and I'll show you them in a minute. I'll put some cheese on this, and once I've put this in the oven, I will ring Mr. Farmer and say, come down. I'm going to sprinkle some mixed herbs on. I know there's mixed herbs in the pizza base, but a little bit more will not go amiss. And I always reckon pepper goes well with pizzas and cheese, but I have none in there. That's salt. I must fill that salt one. I keep forgetting to do it. Pepper seems to go beautifully with tomato and cheese, so I always do that. Add a bit of pepper. I usually get some tomato sauce and do some swirlies, but it's not going to happen today. So that's my pizza. I'm just going to put that in the oven, and then I will take you over and show you what I've done as a whole, and then we'll say good night. Bye, not night. Say goodbye for today. So just bear with. Okie dokie. So there's on my table. This is what we've done today. This is all going to go down. So I've done the burger buns with the spaghetti and cheese on, like mini pizza burger buns. Great big bowl or dish of macaroni cheese. I have done a great big wok full of stir-fried rice, so they can have some veg. I have a container of corn chowder. I think I'll keep that for my granddaughter, so that won't go down. And a great big pizza, which I'm just going to cook now. So that's what we've done today. It's been a really busy day. I am just going to go back, and finish my work with a couple more clients, and then I think I'm going to put my feet up. And yeah, so catch you next time. Bye for now.